The title of this presentation is The Changing World of Scooby-Doo, and it will explore how the latest incarnation of Scooby-Doo differs from the original in an attempt to update the show. This will be done by examining how other similar intellectual properties were updated and by analysing what made them succeed or fail, then compiling a set of criteria to assess Be Cool Scooby-Doo against Scooby-Doo Where Are You, and answer the question, did the changing archetypes in the Scooby-Doo universe negatively impact the show? Steven Spielberg's Tintin was based on Hurge's comics from 1946 and shifted the 2D characters into the 3D world. This was a similar leap for the Charles Schulz's illustrated characters created in 1950 to the film screen in 2015, seen in the Peanuts movie directed by Steve Martino. The 2014 film Paddington took an even bigger leap by creating a CGI version of Michael Bond's bear and placing him in the real world. These were met with generally favourable reviews by both critics and audiences, which was reflected in positive performances at the box office, as can be seen in the infographics. In contrast, these three films were underperforming creations that were met with negative receptions. M. Night Shyamalan's version of The Last Airbender was universally panned. Garfield managed to achieve enough success to warrant a sequel, but was still met with much disdain from the audience. And then there was Godzilla from Emmerich in 1988. He even admitted to disregarding the source material in an interview, saying that he didn't want to make the original Godzilla, he wanted nothing to do with it, to the disapproval of fans of the source material, and it led to the planned sequels being dropped. Where these films failed was precisely where the others succeeded. When the changing character appearance could be justified, such as in Tintin where the characters were now in a 3D world, the audience could accept the change, as the world of Tintin had essentially just expanded, but not at the cost of the characters, which could be clearly seen in Garfield. In Garfield, both the owners were not behaving as they had in Jim Davis's comic strip, which the audience has come to expect, but also the character Odie was inexplicably live action. This merely heightened the separation between Garfield and Odie, as they clearly did not belong to the same world, spoiling both the storytelling and the audience's ability to engage with the material. In The Last Airbender, it went to the extreme of breaking the characters away from the source material, similar to Godzilla, by removing the comic relief of Sokka, the goofy nature of Aang, and the friendliness of Katara, leading to a whitewashed film that was rather underwhelming story-wise. This leads to the criteria with which Be Cool Scooby-Doo will be evaluated. The key areas to get right are character design. Nyback found from Islam's 2010 study that audience members connect certain visual characteristics with certain personality traits, leading to the expectations on that character, showing character design at work as a tool of visual communication. Narrative. According to Mark Turner, a cognitive scientist at Case Western Reserve University, he stated, narrative imagining is our chief means of looking into the future or predicting, of planning and of explaining. Audience. The University of Pittsburgh stance is that focusing on the audience is important because effectiveness will be improved if the presentation is created and delivered in an appropriate manner, meaning that they should be the focus when the content is designed. In Scooby-Doo Where Are You, which ran from the 13th of September 1969 to the 31st of October 1970, there were clear character archetypes. You had Fred, the well-meaning leader, Daphne, typically the one who got kidnapped and ended up saving herself. Velma was the smart one that would explain the clues. Then Shaggy and Scooby were the comic relief whose cowardly actions would inadvertently catch the villain. There is also the character design that was unique to that universe, as you can see from the other shows that were being aired around the same time. This formula is what made the many revivals of Scooby-Doo possible. That is not to say that there haven't been changes throughout the various versions. What's New Scooby-Doo updated the characters' outfits. Mystery Inc. tested the group dynamics with relationships and a focus on longer story arcs. and the new Scooby-Doo movies introduced celebrity guests into the show to try and reach new audiences. In the case of Be Cool Scooby-Doo, they have made Fred incapable of basic tasks. Daphne is now more prone to random actions such as donning a clown outfit for no explicable reason, yet simultaneously taking on a smarter role. Velma has no specific function, and Shaggy and Scooby are now less cowardly, removing their comic relief. Frankly, they should have gone the easier route and cut Fred and Velma from the cast as they did in the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, rather than debase the fundamental archetypes. The strongest link between the newer version of Scooby-Doo and the original is the choice to return to the original outfits. However, that decision, combined with the redesign of the character's face and body shapes, is unsettling. Furthermore, it erodes the unique quality the characters have had that have been sustained for almost 50 years, and the gang would not look out of place in the likes of Family Guy or Rick and Morty, especially as the series focuses less on the narrative of catching the villains but more on visual comedy, which only offends the long-term fans as the characters are there to serve a punchline and does little in the way of explaining the situations to the audience. Audience. The network would have been hoping to draw in a new viewership and therefore positioned Scooby-Doo to have more similar comedic elements to other successful shows such as Gravity Falls or Adventure Time, rather than staying true to the existing substantial audience that charged the previous versions. Network. The show has a history of jumping to different networks, and the networks are in the business of making money, and with so much more competition with the likes of Adventure Time, it is understandable how simplifying the character design into a more familiar guise could be viewed as a smart decision. Politics. It is possible that, in an effort to make Daphne seem more empowered, they chose to dumb Fred down and allow Daphne to take a leadership role. However, this undermines the fact that Daphne historically subverts the expectations of being a damsel in distress by saving herself, and Fred being supportive of that, as seen in Scooby-Doo Zombie Island, where she judo throws an attacker. In conclusion, the changing archetypes in the Scooby-Doo universe did negatively impact the show, as it ultimately was cancelled in 2018, and the same year a reboot was announced for 2019 under the name of Scooby-Doo and Guess Who. Based upon the negative audience reception, it would be beneficial for the creators to return to the well-known and loved archetypes of the characters, as well as focusing on developing a strong narrative for the show to draw in audiences, rather than relying on cheap comedy gags.